2 years ago, this was the Roosevelt Hotel. When hundreds of thousands of migrants flooded the city, this Pakistani-owned 4-star hotel became the epicenter. Now, a 15-year-old Venezuelan migrant arrested 11 times since last May calls this place home. FEMA has spent hundreds of millions of your tax dollars keeping this place running. Americans voted to end this. So today I'm here to find out, has this place changed? Are there mass deportations? Where will these migrants go when the hotel shuts down in June? And how do they feel about living off of taxpayer money for years? Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show.
Where are you from?
Guatemala.
When did you come to America?
Yo vine 2023.
Did you arrive and go straight to a shelter?
Sí, yo llegué a Texas, de Texas me consiguieron el pasaje para venir directamente para un shelter aquí en Nueva York.
When he came here, the border was seeing 270,000 encounters in a single month. Now the number has dropped to just 11,000, but back then 270 was too much to handle. So the governor of Texas decided if the border stays open, he's sending the problem elsewhere. So under Operation Lone Star, buses started transporting migrants straight from Texas to New York City shelters, with each bus ticket costing taxpayers $1,800.
Have you been at the Roosevelt this whole time?
No, yo estaba en el Hotel 99 Washington Street y de ahí los cerraron y automáticamente a todas las personas que vivían en este shelter los mandaron de regreso para Roosevelt.
If his old hotel is closed to migrants, then it must be open to the public, right? Well, this is what happens when you try to book a night at the Holiday Inn that he was staying at. Nothing. Something fishy is still going on there. What's really crazy is that just before the migrant crisis, this hotel was getting foreclosed, and the government, i.e. your money, bailed this failing hotel out by placing illegal immigrants in rooms with views like this.
So I want to know what kind of help you're getting here, because I want to make sure everything's good. Like, are you getting medical help, food? What does the shelter give you while you're there?
Pues gracias a Dios me han ayudado a conseguir seguro médico, me han ayudado para obtener mi identificación me han ayudado a obtener el asilo, poder obtener mi permiso de trabajo y mi social.
Have you seen ICE come to the Roosevelt Hotel at all?
So the second I asked about ICE, all these guys sitting on the street quickly got up and walked away.
No, aquí, desde que yo vine, que yo tengo un mes aquí, no.
They're closing this Roosevelt Hotel in June. What is your plans after it closes?
Ir para otro hotel.
So do you know of shelters that will remain open after June? Like, do you already have some lined up, ready to go?
No, de aquí mismo del hotel nos van a decir para dónde nos van a mandar.
So you can see the Roosevelt Hotel's original purpose is still very much in effect. It's a temporary shelter for migrants until the city moves them to another shelter. One of the main reasons the city moves them around so much is because of local backlash. Even in New York's most liberal areas, residents protest these shelters because of the rising crime and deteriorating conditions in their neighborhood. So as one shelter closes down, another pops up somewhere else, leaving behind a trail of destruction.
What are the rooms like? What are the living arrangements like? Do you have a room to yourself? Do you share a room?
No, con mi esposa tenemos nuestra habitación privada.
Do you have children?
No.
Not long ago, I interviewed a disabled American homeless man. He was ran over by a car and his whole life changed. This is what he told me about his living conditions. Do you have your own room or you share a room?
It's a dorm system.
Okay, so you have a roommate?
I have like about 20.
And this man is here illegally and gets his own room that looks like this. Next up, I ran into this mother of two who has been living in the Roosevelt Hotel for quite a while. I wanted to ask her about the changes that she's seen around here.
What is it like in the shelter right now with, I've heard that there's less people coming into the shelter now, is that true?
Sí, por lo mismo que van a cerrar, creo, pues, ¿no?
How long have you been in the shelter?
Yo tengo 3 meses aquí.
So you had your baby while you were living in the shelter?
Sí.
As we have exposed in the past, when migrant mothers have children, it is not only paid for by the U.S. government, but it allows them to extend their stay at any given shelter. Fast forward to today, and at the Roosevelt, I saw much fewer single men outside and many more families. I asked her how she feels about her family being provided all these resources at the taxpayer's expense.
Tengo que lucharla hasta el último. Para eso uno viene acá, ¿no? No viene a agarrarse de todas las ayudas.
Is your kid arriving from school?
Sí, viene de la escuela.
This might be the most insane thing you hear all week. Her kid is coming home from school, and so are thousands of other migrant children. That created a very interesting problem for New York City public schools. These kids don't speak English. So now you're seeing stories like this. A 4th grade teacher, Miss Citroman, checks her Google Translate or Pocket Translator 25 times a day while teaching kids at the Children's Workshop in Manhattan. This has created an actual demand for Spanish bilingual teachers across the city. And it's not just teachers. Job listings at places like McDonald's now require Spanish. Imagine losing your job in the United States because you don't speak Spanish.
Hay muchas personas que tienen permiso de trabajo y sin embargo están aquí. Si este país se les ha acogido de buena manera, de buena fe, hay que hacer lo bueno y no lo malo.
She exposes something important here. While you go around these shelters, many migrants are sitting around on the street. They may say they don't have work permits, but many of them do, and they work delivering DoorDash using the hotels as free rent. When the interview concluded, she actually flagged me down and asked that we keep filming because she wanted to expose something else about this migrant crisis.
Discúlpeme, yo soy una peruana. Quien te está hablando es una peruana. Mira Perú, recogieron, ¿no?, a muchos inmigrantes y sin embargo, mira ahorita cómo está mi país, Perú. Está peor que acá, por lo menos acá hay seguridad, pero mira mi país, en Perú. ¿Quiénes son los que están matando a cada rato? Son los mismos extranjeros allí en Perú. Puedo decir exactamente el nombre, pero ustedes ya saben de quiénes estoy hablando. Por esa misma razón.
What she's talking about is the crime from Venezuela extended to not only Peru, but of course the United States. We know that Tren de Aragua used the Roosevelt Hotel as an effective headquarters for their operations. That led to 75% of the arrests in Midtown Manhattan being migrants. When she says, "Do you know who I'm talking about?" the answer is yes. She's calling out the gangs and wants them deported. Now that's actually exactly what the Trump administration is doing, and the Department of Justice has opened up a criminal investigation into several migrant shelters in New York City, including the Roosevelt Hotel. Now, I believe that crime from illegal immigrants should have never been a political thing. It's beyond infuriating that our tax dollars went to fund gang violence. And when things get infuriating, sometimes I just like to listen to music. And my favorite way to do that is by using Raycon's headphones.
So one of my favorite things about these headphones is that I run a lot, okay? And they don't fall out when I run. That's pretty sweet. And they have this active noise cancellation feature, so if you don't want to hear the sound of the treadmill, just tap on the right headphone for 3 seconds and it stops. So all I hear right now is Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. And if I forget to charge the headphones, then it's no problem because they last for 32 hours. All right, I'm gonna finish this run.
Also, ever since I moved to New York City, I've been going on long walks, and these are amazing for that. Probably listening to the same podcast you are right now. So definitely check out these headphones, guys. They have all the features you would expect from premium level headphones, like it's just, snaps right into the case, and yet it's half the price. And if you want them to be even less expensive, use the link in the pinned comments to get 20% off. Now, in addition to getting a great pair of headphones, this is also one of the best ways to support our boots on the ground journalism. And now, back to the streets of New York.
What are you doing for work right now?
Esperando el permiso de trabajo porque no tengo. Ya metí el asilo.
And what are people's attitudes after Trump won? Are people worried about shelters not being a thing anymore?
Con miedo porque con la deportación que está haciendo.
Are you seeing ICE here? Are you seeing deportations?
No, hasta el momento no.
I saw that Trump deported gang members to El Salvador. Do you think that's a smart idea?
Oh, sí, porque están haciendo daño con la ciudad. O sea, los que están trabajando deben de dejarlo. Los que están haciendo daño, pues sí, deben de deportarlo, ¿no? Normal.
It's kind of ironic that even the people who are here illegally want criminal migrants deported. Yet Democrats vote overwhelmingly against deporting violent criminals. AOC has actually campaigned to abolish ICE, and according to polling, she's the most influential Democrat. This guy also is clearly eating pretty well, but the narrative from much of the left is that the migrants are struggling to make it here. Before we do our last interview, I need to mention how different this episode was from previous migrant episodes. Normally, about half the migrants I asked to speak to say yes. And this time it was closer to 5%. I went around the hotel multiple times for over an hour and no one would talk, saying that they were busy, but an hour later they would be in the exact same place still looking at their phone. What I took from that is that they are afraid of deportation now more than ever. Some are willing to take the risks, but not without asking for something first.
How much are you asking for? You want $100 for me to interview you. That's a lot.
I asked our last interview why I am seeing less people outside.
Muchas personas porque ya habían dicho en el hotel de que nos desalojaran y cosas así, ¿sí me entiende? Que nos íbamos a ir para otro sitio, que buscáramos para dónde irnos, cosas así, ¿sí me entiende? O sea que no podíamos quedarnos más ahí. Entonces por esa razón no ha entrado mucha gente, no viene más gente, pues me imagino yo que es por eso.
I know that FEMA was giving hundreds of millions of dollars to the Roosevelt and other migrant shelters. Are you feeling cared for in the shelter?
Medicaid, uno tiene Medicaid y por ejemplo la comida que le dan también, cosas de útiles personales, lo básico, lo de siempre, lo que siempre el hotel te da.
I haven't heard this level of, I'll call it arrogance. I mean, quote unquote, the basics you get from a hotel. This guy is going from 4-star hotel to 4-star hotel using promo code migrant and getting everything he needs. The biggest shift I've noticed is that many migrants have begun referring to their shelters as what they really are, which are hotels.
I know some Americans are conflicted about giving their taxpayer money to migrants such as yourself. Can you tell those Americans why you believe you deserve those things like medical help and food?
No, yo no pienso que deben de pagar por eso. O sea, simplemente que yo caí en una situación por acá, porque a mí me iban a recibir, no me terminó recibiendo nadie. Me tocó buscar, por decir, un refugio, porque tengo un niño, me nació una niña acá también y no creo que los americanos nos tengan que dar nada. De verdad creo que merecemos trabajar para obtener las cosas y eso es lo que estamos esperando todos, pues una oportunidad.
So he doesn't want Americans to pay for the hotels, but he will take full advantage of the opportunity. Well, if migrants don't want Americans to pay for this hotel, then maybe that's all the Democrats need to hear who are running this city. They can hear it right from the horse's mouth, as they say.
So if you believe that people should work for it, why are you staying in the shelter?
Porque ahorita no tengo un documento para poder trabajar y se me ha hecho difícil conseguir trabajo, pues.
When did you start living at the Roosevelt?
No tengo mucho, como 5 meses, 4 meses, no recuerdo bien.
4 or 5 months. Were you in a shelter before that as well?
Estuve en uno por 2 meses anteriormente y de ahí a aquí, porque ya mi niño acaba de llegar de la escuela.
New York City signed a 3-year, $220 million contract with the hotel's owner, Pakistan International Airlines, to turn its 1,025 rooms into a migrant shelter and intake center. That contract is almost up. Now, despite an enormous amount of federal pressure, this place remains the epicenter of the migrant crisis. City officials dubbed the Roosevelt Hotel the new Ellis Island because it processed 75% of the 232,000 migrants who entered New York City's shelter system since spring of 2022. Over 173,000 individuals from 160 countries. At its peak, it handled up to 4,000 people a week. Now I don't see anything like those numbers. The bleeding has stopped, the border has closed, but the question now is, how do you approach the crisis with the people already here? And now our new segment where we shout out the 3 most liked comments from the previous episode. Coming in at number 3 is like comedian Ron White says, "You can't fix stupid. These obnoxious protesters can't be reasoned with." And at number 2, these people are on private property invading someone's home. Ridiculous. Yeah, and look at how that story is completely out of the media already. If Biden's family home were to be invaded like that, you'd hear about it for years. And coming in at number 1 is you can lead a Democrat to knowledge, but you can't make them think. While I did laugh, I think it's important we recognize that many Democrats do condemn the protesters' behavior. It's just not the Democrats who are currently in power, unfortunately. Maybe that's why the Democrats have the lowest approval rating they've ever had. Now, if you guys want to watch the episode where these comments actually come from, it's on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.